Hello and welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, 18 Hour special initiative that celebrates the undying entrepreneurial spirit of micro, small and medium enterprises. On the show today, I have an interview going with Kunwar Sachdev of SuCam, and on Bright Sparks tonight, we are featuring two companies, Shiksha Finance and Sherman Scholz. So that's what is in store for you tonight. Let's get started right away. Today's Insight interview features someone who knows the meaning of starting over and has used the lessons that he's learnt along the way to grow bigger and stronger, and not just that, but also change the way the inverter industry in India is done. I caught up with Kunwar Sachdev of SuCam. I asked him about how he came about to be called the Inverter Man of India. I also asked him what advice he would have for other self-made businessmen like himself. Take a listen. Kunwar, thanks so much for speaking with us. You're known as the Inverter Man of India. What led to your entrepreneurial journey?
So I was working with my brother, and then I left him and I joined this first job, which was on communications, and it was a cable TV business where they were installing all cable TV equipment, dish antennas and all. So I joined this company for 2 years, and when I was working, I always thought that, I never wanted to be working for somebody. So when I was working with them, then I planned that I have to start my own. So within 2 years, I decided, and I left the company and I started my own. And it was a big challenge for me because I understand the sales, but I didn't know anything about technicalities or technical things. So it was a tough job. When I left the company, I got a lot of jobs in my hand, but to execute those jobs was a big challenge because being a non-technical guy, I didn't know how to complete those projects. So it took for a while. I learned a lot. I had a lot of challenges, which I overcome somehow or the other. I trained the people. I learned it myself. Then I trained the people, and then we kept on learning. And somehow I was able to stabilize that business. And in the process, I got interested into the electronics and all. Earlier, I had no exposure of electronics. So that was the first job where I got exposed to electronics. Then I got exposed to manufacturing of electronic equipments because I started manufacturing, all those satellite receivers, modulators, amplifiers. So it gave me a very big exposure of manufacturing and electronics in particular.
What is the role of mentors that they could have played in your life and in your business journey in helping you formalize your plans and advice for your viewers, especially when you are starting out?
So it is very important that if somebody who already knows, who has already gone through those issues, so he can easily tell me how to get the finance, how to build the team, what are the important parameters one should keep it in mind while constituting a team, how do you give clarity to your team, how do you monitor them, how do you there are so many things, how to audit all these things, you learn. I think now if I start a new business, I will have a very different view towards that business because in various throughout my journey, I realized I didn't know anything about anything. So I learned by paying a very heavy price, by losing time, losing money, and losing my whatever you say, that it was a big time wastage for me to learn all these things because I didn't have anybody in my life with whom I could go consult or ask some questions.
Kunwar, you've been very open about the fact that the initial days weren't easy when you were starting out. What lessons have you learned from that experience, and what advice would you then have to offer our viewers based on that?
I feel that one should be very clear what you want at any particular time. Say when you are starting a business, you should have a very clear-cut goal, that what is my temporary goal, maybe for say 6 months to 1 year, and what is 5-year goal, and then planning. Planning is very, very important because in India we have not taken that planning concept from the family or from the society at large. So we are the society which we just want to get into execution very fast, and that's a big problem, and this is a big learning I have had with my own experiences. So we should plan. Then you can focus that this is how we have to achieve the goal. Whatever ingredients we need to fulfill those goals, that also you write it down. And in the once you start functioning, then you realize that this is not right and you can add on. And then another challenge which I feel is the most important challenge is to make your team. Because when you start, people don't want to join you, or the people who join you, they have different goals. So you have to see that how they align with your goals.
What role, Kunwar, in your opinion, does innovation play in sectors like yours? What about innovation and the role that it plays for MSMEs? I just want to try and broad base that question. Do you think there's enough innovation happening as far as the MSME universe is concerned now?
What I feel is that I always wanted to improve things. So wherever I saw anything, I wanted to improve. So I faced a lot of challenges. Then I changed the shape of modulators. So I always wanted to improve the looks and the functioning of the product. So I never realized that I am looking for that change, and I am driving that change. So slowly, when I came into inverter business, there also we did a lot of innovation in technology, and that became the DNA of SuChem. So what I feel is that innovation is a DNA in people who want to improve, or people who want to make changes. So it's important. It's what I feel is it is in your in your habit or in your mindset that you want improvement, and people who want improvement, they will try to change, and that change brings innovation.
Let's talk about funding, Kunwar. Did you find funding easy, and funding for your industry, is it easy or difficult?
So in our days when I started, there was no funding. So even banks were not ready to fund you. So fund was a big challenge. But I never realized that that was a big problem, because I was so busy in doing things. I just took help of my friends. I took some money from them and returned them, and I again took the money from them. So funding was a challenge. But what I feel is that funding is, say, 10-20% of the business part. It is not the 100% of the part. And sometimes funding is not that important, and that sometimes funding can put you in trouble also. You raise the money and you don't know how to spend the money. So it should be a very gradual thing. If somebody gives me 10 crore rupees today and I have nothing in life, first thing I'll do is I'll go and buy a car. So I think funding is important, but not that important as people think in today's world.
What advice on funding, though, would you have for our viewers out of your own personal experiences?
It's okay. It's good to think big, but you should have some idea where you can have a very small amount of money which you can borrow from your friends or relatives or your family, and start thinking. Because first thing is you have to experiment. You have some idea, but you don't know whether that idea is big or small or good or bad. So what I feel is that you should have some small idea, and you should have some experiment on it, so that you know your strengths and weaknesses.
What about talent availability for an industry like yours? Can you tell us, is it easy, is it difficult? How did you go about it?
Looking for talent is not an important thing. The important thing is to create system and structure, and people should get involved. People should come and get fixed in that system and structures, because sometimes we are looking for a talent, and what I have learned with my own experience is that people who are very talented, it is very tough to handle them. So if you are looking for people, I feel that the normal people, common people who doesn't have very talented people, they become an easy part of your team. People who become with high intelligence, it is very tough to handle them, and more likely they have their own thinking, they have their own this thing. So it is tough to bring them in your become the part of the team. They always want to be leaders. So it's a big challenge. So what I feel is that one should not say that I am looking for talented people, because talent is what? We should see what role we have to, what role we are looking at, and sometimes we have to train people. See, if I am hiring somebody, if I don't know that job, and we expect that the other person will be doing a job, and if he comes on the job and he is doing something wrong, you don't know that whether he is doing right or wrong. So it is very important to understand what is the job profile, and we should understand that job profile first, and then we should hire a person. And but my experience is average people give more results than intelligent people.
Our last question as we end this interview, Kunwar, you're a self-made entrepreneur, you're a businessman who's self-made. What advice would you have if there was one piece of advice for our viewers who are also possibly entrepreneurs and businessmen who are starting out?
I was always looking for something different. I wanted to make a product which I wanted that I should be different. So, you should have some passion about, making for products or services, whatever you are doing, you should strive for, if your focus is that how to make that product or the services as the best services, so I think you will not get any time for anything else. So and whatever I did in life, I always try to say that this is okay. I mean, I want something else. So you should focus. You should never sit on your laurels. So you are keep on studying, and you keep on learning and de-learning, because at times I have learned that it was very important for me to de-learn certain things, because what made me successful for 50 crores, it was troubling me to reach 200 crores. So de-learning is also equally important while you are learning the whole journey. So I feel this is the best journey, as an entrepreneur, this is the best life I have ever got in my life.
All right, Kunwar, thanks very much for that. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll feature Shiksha Finance as well as Sharman Scholz. To stay tuned. With us here on Leaders of Tomorrow, and on Bright Sparks tonight, we are featuring two companies that are doing something differently from their peers in the MSME space, Shiksha Finance and Sharman Scholz. Now, a recent ASSOCHAM survey says a rising number of parents in metros are opting for a single child. The 150% increase that we've seen in private school fees over the last decade is being attributed as one of the biggest reasons behind this. A Chennai-based fintech startup is helping parents pay their kids' monthly school fees and in turn ensuring that they get quality education. Vidya Bharti has the story for us.
Education receives the highest priority in many households in India. But with more and more parents turning towards private schools, in spite of their high school fees, leaves those from the middle class and lower middle class with fewer options, both in terms of schools as well as means to pay school fees. Two finance experts identified this problem and set out to find a solution for the same. In 2015, V.L. Ramakrishnan and Jacob Abraham set up a non-banking financial company called Shiksha Finance. A first of its kind in India, this company offers loans to middle class and lower middle class families to finance their school-going children from kindergarten to class 12 in Tamil Nadu.
Tell us what sparked the start of Shiksha Finance.
Me and Jacob were passionate about doing something in the education sector. So we started researching on the sector, and we found that there was tremendous scope for financial inclusion in the space. So we started visiting schools a couple of years back, and when we researched on this opportunity, we found that there are two fundamental demand that was actually coming out. One, the infrastructure requirements for the school, and two, the major issue for most of the schools were the dropouts, okay, in terms of the students leaving the school midway. And that's where we started working on this seriously.
In spite of having RTE in place in India, dropping out of school is still a common problem. How do you think Shiksha Finance is going to curb this issue?
One of the product offerings that we have, which is a unique proposition in our country, is that we give education loan for the school-going students. Okay, and we have major institutions and banks funding education loans for students pursuing studies abroad or for their professional courses. But we thought we should attack this problem at the grassroots level. In a school, we may look at a minimum size of students for us to fund. So in a school, if there is one parent approaching us, obviously it doesn't make any economic sense. So we look at a minimum of at least 10 students. Okay, once when that is there, okay, then it will be our sales officer approaching you, and over the phone we tell you the documentation requirements, and then we fix up a time to make a visit, and from there the process takes on.
Earlier you told me that you do not take any security against the student loan you give. How do you define a person's credit worthiness?
See, the schools, obviously, we when we meet the parents, okay, there are a couple of process that we have. We need to keep in mind We don't insist on any collateral documents, we don't take any security. Okay? We don't even collect post-dated checks from customers. That being the case, that's basically because of the intent that we have. At the same time, we have to exercise all judiciousness and precaution when we give a loan. So it starts with our sales officer visiting the parents or the residence of the parents where the children reside. We collect the basic KYC documents as mandated by the regulator, and we do a CIBIL check on the customer. So these are fundamental things that we do. Our profile of customers, meaning the parents, mostly people who are working in the unorganized service sector. Okay, so to insist on a document proof of their income, we find it quite difficult. So we rely on the stated income, and then we have developed our own proprietary scoring model through which we assess the customer, and then we grant the loan. It's given on parents' behalf to the school directly, so the end use is clearly established.
In a bid to help affordable schools in Tamil Nadu get quality infrastructure and in turn provide quality education, Shiksha Finance lends money at lower interest rates to schools as well, combined with easier cash repayments.
Our focus is on the private entrepreneur-run school, and we are currently operational in 6 locations in Tamil Nadu. We have our sales force who visits these schools. So we offer our loan products to schools, and the idea and intent being that our loan should enable the school to invest in infrastructure, and consequent to this, we have had evidence to say that better infrastructure obviously improves the quality of education.
Alright, so one last question. What are your next 5 years looking like?
In terms of the schools, we are targeting to reach anywhere around 4,000 to 5,000 schools. And in terms of the student loans, planning to look at about 1 lakh to 2 of student loans to be given.
Initially bootstrapped, this startup received a $50,000 investment early this year in January. With determination to make education for all a reality in India, Shiksha Finance has opened branches in Andhra as well.
Ludhiana-based Sharman Shawls has been adding elegance and accentuating feminine charm with its shawls, stoles and fashion accessories for well over a decade now. Libza Manan travelled to Ludhiana. She caught up with the management to unravel really the secret behind the successful traditional MSME and has this report for us.
More than 4 decades ago, Sharman Group entered the Indian textile market and is today one of the leading manufacturers of shawls, stoles, scarves and other fashion accessories. With the latest machinery and processes in place, the brand manufactures superior quality products at affordable prices and has become one of the sought-after suppliers for international clients like Zara and Armani.
Sharman Group is one of the pioneers in the Indian shawl industry. So sum up the brand's journey in revolutionizing the textile market.
Sharman Shawls was established in the 1970s by the vision of my grandfather. He was very much inspired by the Kullu and the Kashmiri Pashminas. He had his own concept of handloom weaving. He introduced this technique, and by this technique he introduced very fine wools which are very similar to the Kashmiri and the Kullu Pashminas. He was very successful in that. The experiment went very successful, and finally we commanded the market in a very strong way.
Any special strategy to beat competition in the Indian retail market?
We are in the fashion line, so we have to be always upfront with the fashion products. Our design team is very capable of understanding the new design trends that are coming into the market, and fast fashion is the new technique which is going on in the market. By fast fashion we mean we need very fast changes in the designs and techniques. So our team being very strong in this, we are able to meet the needs of the market with innovative products at a very fast pace. So this is how we are able to get a competitive edge on our competitors.
Talk to us about the brand's presence across the globe.
We have a very developed marketing system. We are distributing our products through different agents, wholesalers all around the country. Our presence is in almost all the countries around the world. By virtue of this distribution network, we are able to bag many of the leading customers of the world. We have a big bucket of such customers. We have brands. We are working for brands like Zara, Esprit, Armani, Guess. So these are the clientele whom we are catering to, and it's a large pool of customers we are having with us.
With a strong design development team, Sharman Group boasts of generating new concepts aligned with the latest designs. The brand's complete integrated setup of weaving, dyeing, spinning, printing and other facilities guarantees efficient production, and a rigorous quality control procedure ensures superior quality products, helping the brand to maintain an edge over competition.
Talking about the Indian retail market, where do you see the industry heading in the next couple of years?
We are very bullish about the Indian market. I personally feel very confident about the Indian market, since the government of India is investing so much into the infra department and the different allied or many different areas of the economy. So I personally believe a lot of money is coming into the market, and it is very healthy sign, and I'm very confident that the retail market of the country will pick up in the coming years very fast.
The GST bill is hailed as the biggest reform in India's indirect tax structure and is ought to benefit manufacturing businesses like yours. What's your thoughts on that?
I personally feel very positive about the GST bill. I'm very sure that it will ease the taxation system. So in a way, it should be a big relief to the entrepreneurs of the country.
What would you say are the distinguishing factors that makes the group a leader of tomorrow?
Our core capacity, our core competence is product development, and we have always focused on that in a big way. And I believe this is one thing which is very important for any organization, product development, to be a leader in the market, and along with the good quality products. So that's the key how we think it's going on.
Going forward, what sort of product diversification and footprint expansion can consumers expect from your brand?
We are focusing on many product diversification, where we are introducing many new product lines, like apart from scarves and shawls, we have entered into home furnishing products. We are doing many throws and dress materials. So these are the new avenues which we are exploring for the future, and in line with that, we are expanding our capacity. We are doubling the production capacity of a unit.
With some strategic plans to expand its reach in far and wide corners of the globe, this traditional MSME is all set to take not only Indian markets but also the international markets by storm.
Well, that's a wrap on this edition of Leaders of Tomorrow. Do remember that you can write to us at leadersoftomorrow@timesgroup.com. You can reach us on social media using the hashtag LOT, or call us on that number which is on your screens. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.